Boy, do we got a lot to talk about. Sir and Disney here, and we're going to talk a little TNA Lockdown. I just finished watching the pay-per-view just about 10 minutes ago, and I want to give you my short opinions on the show real quick before I start talking about the matches in general. Overall, I enjoyed the show. I thought there was some interesting directions that they went that I wasn't anticipating they would go. A lot of things that I thought were obvious and not necessarily were. And it was really interesting because I should have known all along that something was up. When Bully Ray, of course, cryptically tweeted the other day, I'm just paraphrasing here, but basically I watched the crowd at Raw in Chicago and I've come to a decision. Stay tuned. Well, his decision apparently was to screw over Dixie Carter and help MVP win Lethal Lockdown. But I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? So, this was the first TNA pay-per-view since Bound for Glory, and the rest of them have been free previews, and this is the first pay-per-view, and it looks like we're going back to a regular schedule because there was an announcement tonight for April 27th will be Sacrifice as the next TNA pay-per-view. I'm sure there'll be a lot of rematches and the such that will be on that event as well, especially with a brand new person in charge of the company, at least the wrestling operations of the company. So, I was very hyped for the show. Really was intrigued on what they would do after the go-home that I talked about earlier today. And, you know, I was just like, I was really excited, wanted to like this pay-per-view. I did enjoy the pay-per-view, and I enjoyed talking about it at the pay-per-view. And a couple of things that I said would happen actually did, and a couple of things I said wouldn't happen actually did, so yeah, I feel bad about being wrong about something. Sometimes, when you're wrong about things, that means it's not as obvious as it could be. Or maybe it's just wishful thinking. You could see it from either perspective. So the show started off with the six-man tag. It was the Bad Influence and Chris Sabin against the team of the new, and they announced him as such, and he came out with the championship, the new X Division champion Saya Sanada and Yasufumi Nakano. Wow. Nakano. That's it. Nakano. Nakano? Yeah. That's horrible. It's been a long day, I'm sorry. So they're calling him Yasu, and they're calling Sanada just Sanada, and they're teaming with the man, the myth, the legend, former NWA champion, former All Japan Triple Crown holder, former IWGP champion, the Great Muta. And he is the Great Muta here. Since it's America, he's not Kishimuto, he's only Kishimuto in Japan. I'm sure there's somebody out there, some Puro fan, that's probably going to say, oh, and he did a show as Kishimuto in the US once. And I was like, well, you know, I'm not as big on my Japanese history as I probably should be, at least not right now. I'm going to go back and start watching some stuff. I've had a plan to start watching some old All Japan from the 90s, so yeah, I have a nice want to see Stan Hansen and Vader beat the daylights out of each other. So that's just what I want to see now right now. Alright. So, of course, the Bad Influence have this way about them and their awesomeness to do a little homage with their ring introductions. They've done a lot of teams in the past. The last one were the British Bulldogs. And they're the Best Coast Bulldogs, and they came out during the UK tour dressed like Davey Boy Smith and the Dynamite Kid. So it was Dynamite Kaz and Daniel's Boy Smith, which is hilarious to me. And this homage was to the Great Muta. They came out wearing blue and yellow gis, as well as Great Muta style paint masks. They weren't actually face paint, it was just the mask of like the Great Muta. Before, of course, he takes it off and reveals the creepiness he has now that he is getting on in years. And I'm staring at right now, it looks really freaky, to say the least. So, we go midway through the match, and there's a lot to follow here. Boot in Snapmare, power drive elbow by Muta on Kaz, locks in the STF, Daniels makes a save, whip in, and drop kick sends Daniels down. He blows the Mist in the air to a huge pop from the crowd. Of course, we're seeing the Mist in person, and it's awesome. So, Yasu with the slam and an elbow drop on Kaz 1-2 and a kick out, boot in, whip in, reverse, and charges and gets the boot up. Punches Daniels in the corner and a high kick by Kaz on Yasu. Tagging to Daniels, and they break him down and save him with a front drop kick as Bad Influence holds him on opposite sides. Daniels with a clothesline in the back of the neck, and Kaz follows up the trifecta with a leaping elbow, 1-2, and Yasu kicks out. Tagging to Sabin, drops a knee and whip in, charges them with a clothesline in the corner, boot in, and a choke in the corner. Tagging to Kaz, backslide, and he stacks him up, and Kaz comes off with a springboard 180 leg drop, and basically he lands on the legs, trying to pin him down, 1-2, and Yasu kicks out. Tagging to Daniels, Bad Influence with a double slam. He backdrop, suplex position Kaz, with Kaz floats over and moonsault, and Daniels nails the moonsault and locks on a neck twist. Yasu forearms all three men when he gets up to his feet and gets caught by Kaz with a shoulder block in the corner, whip in, and Daniels with a high forearm, big splash, and a big elbow from Sabin, a back elbow. So all three members of the team working over Yasu. They hit a three-way drop kick, front, side, side, and he collapses. Kaz makes a cover on Yasu, 1-2, and a kick out. So a scoop slam, he goes up top, and he goes for a guillotine leg drop. He misses, tagging to Christopher Daniels. He comes in and hot tag into Sonata. Elbow, ducks the clothesline. Caught with a snap Hurricane Rana. It's basically a wrist lock, double springboard snap Rana. And Sabin and Daniels with a whip. Drop kick to all three men. He nails one, nails two, nails three. Daniels gets hit with a TKO, 1-2, and a kick out. Tiger suplex is countered. And Daniels and Kaz hit high-low, 1-2, and again, the new X Division champion kicks out. Whip in reverse, Daniels ends up accidentally clotheslining Kaz. Drop kick to the knee, dragon screw leg whip on Kaz, dragon screw leg whip on Chris Sabin, dragon screw leg whip on Christopher Daniels, locks Daniels in the leg bar. Sabin makes a save. So, Sabin holds, Kaz gets the mist, and all of a sudden, we go finishers galore, ace crusher on Kaz, lariat on Sabin, and tag into Sonata, shining wizard on Christopher Daniels. Sonata comes off the top with the moonsault, 1-2-3, and Wrestle 1 win this 6-man tag match. Great way to kick off the show. Muta was kept very limited in the ring, understandably so, and it was a good showcase of the brand new X Division champion. And Bad Influence, they're just awesome. And I'm not just saying that being a Christopher Daniels fan. I'm saying that because they are literally one of the best tag teams in the business. And that's not just a storyline, folks. That is the truth. So, yeah, I like this match. I thought Sabin, Daniels, and Kaz all really was able to keep up with Sonata and Yasu. And Muta being in the ring was awesome. Hitting Kaz with the mist, that was great. Showing different colors of the mist. The different poison mist, obviously, that Muta has done throughout the years. And we got to see all the high spots, the power drive elbow, the dragon screw leg whip, the leg bar. And the only thing, of course, and the big shining wizard, of course, the only thing we missed in this case was the old Muta moonsault. But Sonata was able to get that moonsault off and get the win. So, big win for the X Division champion in the 6-man tag. And he really looked like a star, and that was exactly what he was supposed to look like in this match. So, it's going to be interesting to see what Sonata does in the X Division, given the fact that I have a feeling that both members of Bad Influence and Chris Sabin, all three of them, will probably gun for that X Division Championship now. I really think this is the start of a brand new push for the X Division Championship. I know what you're saying. Oh, and we've heard this before. And we have heard this before. I won't deny that. But the fact remains that I think this time they're going to put a lot more emphasis on that X Division Championship. And they're going to really stack that X Division. And with Kenny King coming back. And of course, Tigre Uno. Yeah, I feel so stupid calling him Tiger Uno. Yay, I'm an American. So, But the thing about it is, I like what they're doing with the X Division, and I think that the X Division is going to become another cornerstone of the company, like it has been throughout the duration of Impact's existence. Now, what I think should happen is I think we should bring back the six-sided ring. I really think that that is another way to really put more emphasis on the X Division, and this time when we do Destination X, it will be interesting to see what happens, because obviously Austin Aries created Option C. That's how he became World Heavyweight Champion, when he beat Bobby Roode. Now, the thing about that is, Option C right now lies with Sonata. So if Sonata's still champion Destination X, he can challenge Magnus for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. So that's basically the direction I have on this. That's what I'm thinking they'll probably go with. I guess we'll see in due time. Rockstar Spud comes out looking like Johnny Fairplay, and he does. That's coming from me, too. He brings out Dixie Carter to the ring. She says numerous times she has a New York insurance policy. Now, there's two ways to look at this. New York, like I said on the Impact recap I did earlier today, New York is another code name for WWE. If you're going to New York, you're going to the WWF. It was back in the day. Now, New York also means that New York is an insurance policy, and the insurance policy is from New York. Yep. I wonder which one was used. Basically, she warns Jeff Hardy not to enter the building, and if he even steps foot on premises, he will be kicked out. So, Velvet Sky's doing Facebook questions, Eric Young's doing Twitter questions, and that's glossed over rather quickly. Team Root is united. Basically, Bobby says when they win, they're going to give Aries 2%, and the Bromans can split the rest. So, Aries has been given the designation to start out for Team Rude, so that's going to be the start of Lethal Lockdown. We got our next match, which is an escape match this time. Of course, you can't win by pinfall or submission, you have to escape the cage, and that is somebody who's vastly becoming one of my favorite gimmicks in wrestling, Samuel Shaw taking on Mr. Anderson. This is all about Christy Hemme, and we'll negate the fact that Christy Hemme is spoken for and everyone knows it. And Mr. Anderson is married. So yeah, who knows where they're going with this. I like it though, because it gives Samuel Shaw something to do. When he first came in, he was kind of like, yeah, this guy's okay, I guess. We did the gut check stuff, and now he's got a personality. Now granted, he stole it from Bret Easton Ellis novel, but still, he's got a personality. Now, Samuel Shaw comes out with his music, which actually sounds a whole lot like Kavinsky's Night Call, or like a really good ripoff of Kavinsky's Night Call. Night Call, of course, the song from the credits of Sequence of Drive, if you didn't know what I'm talking about. Well, he comes out, he sits on the top of the cage, he has a microphone, he looks really solemn and dejected. He basically says, Christy, where are you? You know, if she doesn't get out here right now, I'm going to professionally end it all. What does he do? He climbs to the top of the cage and basically threatens to jump. Anderson comes out. Whoa, 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 hang on a second. This got dark quick. Sam, you don't want to jump. You know what? It's not high enough. You might just break your ankle and look more like a goof than you do right now. Why don't you just come on down? I'll just beat you up a little bit. And then I'll give you a ride out to anywhere you want to go. Obviously, to quote the late great Gorilla Monsoon, the guys with the white coats and the nets will be at your door like that. So, he basically calls him a creepy bastard again, getting the crowd to chant just the same. So, Christy comes out to ringside because there's a cage now separating her and Samuel Shaw, so she thinks it's relatively safe, I guess. So, basically, Shaw's almost over the top. We're midway through the match, and Anderson grabs the foot, and Shaw punches away and slams his face in the cage twice. An elbow to the neck, knocks off Anderson. I'm looking at my writing here. Samuel Shaw climbs over, Anderson drags him back in, slams him face first in the cage, and block. Elbow, backdrop superplex for Mr. Anderson off the top of the cage, and I love the sell from Samuel Shaw. He just folded, like curved up, and just did a complete backflip. It looked awesome. I really enjoyed it. The way he sold that was phenomenal. So he drops in throat first on the bottom rope to change momentum, and Shaw waves at Christie at ringside. So Earl unlocks the cage, and he goes to escape. Anderson with a knee, and when he runs the knee in the back, he knocks Shaw into the cage, which inadvertently knocks Earl Hebner off the cage and to the floor, so we have no referee. Gee, I wonder what's going to happen next. Mic check on Samuel Shaw. It picks him up. Mic check to the buckle. Looked vicious, by the way. Says, "Are you happy? Are you happy with that? Leave her alone, you freaking weirdo." A couple of fans start chanting, "freaking weirdo." Climbs over the cage. Christie is close to the cage, which is a mistake, because there is a hole in the cage for the cameraman to get in, like the camera hole, so the camera can shoot inside the cage, so you don't actually have to have a referee camera to go back to Nick Patrick at Halloween Havoc. No, you actually have a camera that you can put inside the hole, and that's how you get the inside cage view. Well, Christie's a little too close. And Samuel Shaw realizes this, and basically drags her through the hole. Anderson hits the floor, which means technically he wins, but there's no referee, so it's not official. So he unlocks the cage, gets back in the ring, and when he gets back in the ring, Samuel Shaw has her cornered in the corner, and basically this is stopped by Anderson attacking from behind. Samuel Shaw gets slapped by Christie. He gets up in her face again for more intimidation tactics. Anderson gets in, 3 big right hands, drops Samuel Shaw, and helps Christie out for good measure. This does not allow for the fact that there is a match going on, and while he is helping her out of the cage, he gets low blowed by Samuel Shaw. He fights with it and locks on the Katagatami and basically puts Mr. Anderson out. Christie went to the back, and Shaw exits the cage slowly. Samuel Shaw wins this match, and the right person went over here. I like the way they're going with this. I don't have an issue with it personally. I think that this is a good storyline. I think it actually has some legs. I think that eventually we're going to end up doing the Jimmy Jacobs-Lacey storyline. It's pretty much what we're leading towards. When Samuel Shaw was threatening to jump, it reminding me of during the Age of the Fall when Jimmy Jacobs had the spike, and of course we didn't see this close up. We just saw him pull out the spike, and Lacey was there, and apparently, from what we heard, if you would have went further into it, he was threatening to spike himself, and that made Lacey quit the wrestling business. That's the storyline that we got from that. So basically, Lacey went off to, I believe she went off to college. If I remember correctly, she went back to college. So she wrote her off Ring of Honor television that way. But that's what I thought we were going towards, and I think this is what we're end up getting eventually. I said inadvertently Christie would cost Mr. Anderson the match. Technically that happened because her getting involved, getting too close to the cage, getting dragged inside the cage, and then her being escorted out of the cage by Mr. Anderson was his undoing, and he got low blowed and choked out, and that was all she wrote. So this will continue, and I do see another stipulation match in their future. I would say you're probably leading towards a last man standing match. I don't know. Maybe. The thing is that we just did last man standing tonight with Gunner and James Storm, which I wasn't sure that was going to happen because that was never announced on the website. So I'll take TNA to task on that. They didn't announce all the stipulations for the show, and they didn't also announce that they changed the name of a competitor in the match. So, Ethan Carter III comes out. He has an open challenge. He made this open challenge on Twitter. He says, "I had a dream to face the best. In 1996, Kurt Angle became the best by winning 2 gold medals. No man has ever made the transition like that before. He's one of the greatest of all time. So am I." He says he is wrestling and he's issuing an open challenge. And he said on Twitter, this open challenge was to anyone in the TNA roster. Think about it for a second. He was basically just challenging anyone on the TNA roster, right? Well, someone who was not on the TNA roster ended up making his return to Impact in order to take on the challenge of Ethan Carter III, and that was Bobby Lashley. Haven't seen him in a minute, and it was nice actually to see him back, and he's actually in some really good shape. Fresh off his short MMA career, Bobby Lashley came back, and what happens? Basically, EC3 tells him to get out, says you're not on the roster, you're not on the roster. Well, he swings, and he misses. EC3 gets picked up, and Lashley with a running power slam. When he reaches his feet, he's down in a three-point stance. He mows him over with a spear, and that's all she wrote. EC3 runs for the hills, and that's the end of it. It's not even a match, really. It was just kind of it was a segment, pretty much for what it was. So, I had no issues with this, because I like seeing the fact, number one, EC3 is still undefeated. So, we still continue that. He's never been pinned. Not a singles match. And the streak basically continues. Bobby Lashley, who has not been in TNA in a long time, makes his return. It's not anybody that was spoiled on the internet or anything like that. No, it was something that was absolutely fresh, and no one, probably outside of the people that were in Miami tonight, had any clue that Bobby Lashley was in the building, or even, for that matter, would come out and make his return to TNA. So, I like this. I'm interested to see where we go with this. And Bobby Lashley returning the company? Yeah, that's a good thing. I have a feeling it's probably going to be played up as an MVP signing, if I had to guess, but I don't know. I guess we'll see in the near future. Magnus is in the back, and he basically says that he had an interview segment, but it was switched to an individual address, whatever that means. He said he's had to battle against adversity. He's fighting a lone crusade. Everybody talks about what Joe will do to me. Well, what about what I'll do to him, or what Joe will do to himself? If you back me into a corner, I become very dangerous. Great promo from Magnus, actually. Very enjoyable stuff from Magnus. So, we get our next match, and it is our X Division Showcase. It's Manic against Tigre Uno. And yes, I'll call him Tigre Uno because, like I said, calling him Tiger Uno, I feel stupid. Now, he's one tiger. Well, this is pinfall rules here, no escape needed. And we go midway through this match. High vertical suplex, and when he gets up, backdrop suplex, 1-2, Uno kicks out. A knee in the back, and La Tapatia is turned into a pinning predicament, 1-2, and he grabs the bottom rope. European uppercut 2 times, Uno comes off the ropes, drop kick, 1-2, and Uno again kicks out. Side backbreaker by Manic. Double springboard into a Hurricane Rana and a spin kick on Manic. Charges in, gets the boot up. Wheelbarrow turned around to a DDT by Tigre Uno. Goes up top, climbs up, back elbow, sunset bomb, and he kicks off that attempt. Missile drop kick to the back of the head. He goes for a pile driver, blocked. He goes for it again. This time turns it into a sit-out powerbomb, 1-2. Tigre Uno kicks out. Double chicken wing going for the old suicide finisher. And, of course, he forward rolls out of it, counters in, elbows out, short arm boot is caught into a dangerous high cradle suplex. And when I say dangerous high cradle suplex, I mean he had the high collar, he had him hooked up, and he just dropped him right on his head. TJ Perkins landed right on top of his head. So, he's done. This match is over. He goes up top. Tigre Uno hits the Phoenix Splash, which is now the Sabertooth Splash. Get it? Sabertooth Tiger. Works for me. 1, 2, 3, and Tigre Uno wins. This is basically just a way to showcase Tigre Uno and put him in the ring with somebody that actually works at his speed. I like this match. I can't wait to see this match when there's no cage surrounding it. So, I think this match was kind of hurt by the fact that it was basically catch as catch can, which means that you couldn't go outside the ring. There was no suicide dives, no topes, no planches, no pescados, nothing like that. It was basically just in the ring. And to their credit, they used the cage in slight ways, so that was good. I will be very interested to see a rematch between the two. I think we get it just as early as potentially this Thursday on Impact, because TNA, I believe, if I'm correct, TNA returns to Orlando this week, so yay! So, yeah, it was a good match. A good back-and-forth X Division style match. Really hot match. Got the crowd into it. And after that, we got our violent brawl. And that's what I said was going to happen, and that's exactly what does. It is the Cowboy James Storm not wearing trunks anymore. No, he's wearing long tights. They're all black, and it says "not sorry" on the side of it. It's like a cross with "not" across the front and "sorry" up and down. And on top of that, he's coming out to brand new heel music, which is kind of cool. I like James Storm in this gimmick. Obviously, personally, I am a bigger fan of Storm in this storyline against Gunner for good reason. And this match was last man standing rules. So last man standing inside a steel cage. Yay for gimmick pay-per-views. So Storm grabs the tag rope and chokes Gunner with it. Twice. And then he breaks him down. He basically hangs Gunner using the tag rope as a noose. Slingshot to the middle rope, and he chokes him with the rope again, hanging him like a noose yet again. He ties him up to the ropes, and he low blows him. Sends him head in the buckle twice, and then 3 times, and then Gunner does the steez where basically he decides to no-sell everything and starts slamming his own head in the turnbuckle. And accidental whip-in, charges him with the knee. High knee off the ropes, and elbow out. Chin breaker to Gunner, and he grabs a piece of the steps, which he got before the match even started. Slams Storm in the face with it. Right hands, yelling "stay down" the whole time. Goes to the last call, gets caught. Counter, and Storm ends up planning him with closing time. Tosses him head first to a chair set up in the corner. This time actually worked to his own advantage this time, unlike normal. Gunner's up at 9. Forearm, and he chairs to the ribs and then to the lower back, and Gunner's up at 6. Forearm whip in reverse, ducks a clothesline and a spear, picks it up in a fireman's carry, and he F5s James Storm on the steel chair, and Storm gets up at 8. Storm goes to use the chair, Gunner steps on it and hits the Uranagi on Storm, goes up top for the flying headbutt, and Storm smash mouths him, basically the old Kid Cash of tossing the chair to the face. That's off the top rope, though, which is very unique. Gets up at 8. Chair to the lower back. Storm gets the chair, sets the chair up to against another chair, with nothing in between. It's just a chair across from a chair. And I set this stuff up back in my old backyard days, so I knew something bad was about to happen. So whip in, back elbow, goes to the middle rope, an uppercut on Gunner. He climbs up, they fight on the rope, and he slams him head first in the cage. Repeated headbutts. Storm's in trouble. Gunner superplexes him off the top rope. Theoretically through both chairs, but the chairs weren't close enough. And I know this from experience. He basically he's going to have a hell of a bruise on his leg by the time he wakes up tomorrow, because he caught all of those chairs on the back of his, like the very bottom of his legs, like his thighs, basically is what connected. It still looked cool. And Storm's down, Gunner's down. Gunner uses the steel chair like a crutch to get up to his feet. Gets up at 10, and Gunner wins the last man standing match. So we have not seen the last of Gunner and Cowboy James Storm, I don't think. Here's the issue, though. Excuse me. If you're going to put over the babyface, and you had to, obviously, because this show really lets you know that TNA is hurting for babyfaces right now. You put over the babyface, obviously. You just turn James Storm. And you just turn someone else later on in the show. And then you turn someone again on the opposite side later on in the show. You really are hurting for babyfaces. You're hurting for upper mid-card babyfaces that could eventually go main event. And Gunner is somebody that I'm sure they could put a lot of stock in. Somebody who came out of a nowhere tag team. They were Russo and Bischoff Security. And now, look at Gunner. He is former NWA national champion. Actually beat my good personal friend Chance Profit for that championship. Defended that championship against him, actually. And also when he was Phil Shatter. So yeah, Gunner has come a long way in a very short amount of time, and now he is a priority on TNA booking. So Gunner is going to continue this. I think we'll see more matches. We see another stipulation match of the two at Sacrifice. I think maybe a barroom brawl potentially, but then again, this was a last man standing match inside a steel cage. So maybe a Falls Count Anywhere match, potentially. Or maybe a bull rope match. I mean, we could do that. Good old the Cowboy going to a bull rope match. That could be good. I think like a Texas Death Match, a bunkhouse brawl, like an old school wrestling fight is what I want to see between these two, and that's what they delivered here tonight at Lockdown. It was a really enjoyable show. I very much enjoyed the match, and had a lot of intensity like I thought it would, and that was a good thing. Going into it, I knew that this was going to be a brutal match, and it delivered in every way possible. Finish was a little bit, like I said, the superplex of the chairs could have looked a lot better, but still looked cool. So, kudos to them for doing that finish. Excuse me. So the Wolves show up in the back. MVP shows up to talk to them. Says, you know what? Don't go crazy. Keep your control. We've got a plan. Stick to it. Okay. Our next match was for the Knockouts Championship. It was Madison Rayne defending against Gail Kim. This match actually wasn't bad. I didn't have an issue with this match. Gail climbs up midway through the match. Madison pulls her off. Whip-in charges in, and Madison taken down. Side backbreaker, and she stretches her out. She basically just bends her across like a slinky. And then she picks her up, side backbreaker again, bends her across once again. So, a knee strike out of it, and a back kick. This time it connects more full force. Charges in, gets the boot up, and Whip-in charges in, going for the crossbody in the corner, and she misses. She goes through the middle rope and hits the cage. Actually, her head against the back of the cage, which looked bad. Forearm, and 3 big forearms, actually, in succession. Whip-in and a shoulder, 2 clotheslines, boot-in gets caught, and Gail gets sent down with the enziguri kick. Gail gets slammed against the cage. Madison missed the big boot, and Gail goes up top to climb out. Madison climbs up, Gail with a kick, face first in the steel cage, and Madison gets caught with a reverse neck breaker off the top rope. Looked awesome, by the way. So Gail Kim makes the cover 1-2, and barely Madison kicks out. So, Lady Top opens the door. Gail tries to crawl out. Madison drags her back in, and Madison gets sent into the cage, 1-2, and a kick out. Gail climbs up again. Madison climbs up. Gail goes for eaten defeat off the top rope. It gets countered. She gets knocked off. Lady Toppa goes up to the cage. She gets knocked off the side of the cage. And Madison climbs the top rope, spears Gail Kim, 1-2-3, and retains the Knockouts Championship. So, I think right now we are in a very low point for the Knockouts division. Not to say anything about Gail Kim. She's probably one of the best workers in the world, at male or female. I would say right now that she's easily tops the division, and you really have to build some more talent to be able to have a credible division right now. Obviously, everybody that was involved in the 6 Knockouts tag match has a claim to a potential title shot down the line. Even Lady Toppa, eventually that will happen. Velvet Sky, of course, and the friend versus friend match there, as well as ODB, face versus face. You still can do it. And Alpha Female, obviously, who has to build up some credibility before she can do anything, because technically she did lose by pinfall to Velvet Sky on Impact this past week. I know I talked about it earlier today. So we get our main event. Before the main event, we get a promo from Joe, and Joe is focused and ready to destroy Magnus by any means necessary. He will walk out with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. We go midway through the match. Magnus gets caught off the middle rope with the inverted atomic drop. Yakuza kick. Goes for the senton. Magnus knows Joe oh so well, and he moves out of the way. The mounted punches, and Joe fights out of the corner with the snap jabs. And he knocks him all the way to the opposite corner. Charges in, misses. Elbow to the back of the neck from Magnus. Whip in reverse. Magnus gets sent hard in the cage. Then sits in the cage again. He puts him on the ring apron where basically there's like this much room between. And he slams him face first into the cage 10 times off the ropes. Runs off the ropes, elbows him into the cage. Magnus goes down. An elbow to the head. Magnus has been busted open. Judging from the place that it was, I would say blade job. Could have been hard way. Who knows? He bites Magnus's laceration. Snapmare, back chop, stiff kick, and the leaping knee drop. Referee checks the arm and drops twice. Third time was not a charm. Magnus still in this. Joe with repeated headbutts and whip-in charges and misses. Knee to the back sends Joe into the cage. Sends Joe into the cage again, and once more. Locks a figure 4 on Joe, gets reversed, and Magnus ends up escaping. Drop toe hold to a camel clutch on Joe. Both men are busted open now. Joe picks him up on the back, backs him hard in the corner, locks in a sleeper, does Magnus. And Joe elbows him off the ropes. Magnus counters a sleeper, with Joe countering it into a backdrop suplex. Almost a dangerous style backdrop suplex. They trade forearms. Joe with a left forearm and the right forearm. Left forearm, right forearm. Whip in, charges in, gets the boot up. Gets caught. Again, atomic drop off the buckle. Yakuza kick. Senton connects this time. And when he gets up to his feet, Magnus rakes Joe's eyes. Joe catches him with a snap power slam. Lost in the Jujigatami, and Magnus gets the foot on the bottom rope because of that huge reach advantage Magnus has in the match. Well, a headbutt puts him on the buckle, goes for a chop, and an eye rake by Magnus. Kick to the face numerous times. Magnus with a flying elbow, and the referee checks the arm again. It drops twice. Joe's still in this. So Joe slaps him repeatedly in the corner, puts him on the buckle, big chop. Magnus climbs up, grabs the foot, and Magnus gets crotched. Muscle buster, coquina clutch. And then we see an arm rip through the mat. And this arm ends up dragging Samoa Joe through the hole in the mat. Magnus is crawling towards this hole, and that's probably not a good thing. Joe emerges, bleeding still. He kicks off the hand. He grabs Magnus by the throat and starts legitimately choking the life out of him. Puts him on the buckle. And then we see what was underneath the ring. Abyss from out of nowhere with Janice in his hands. Nails Joe in the ribs with it. Picks him up. Black hole slam. Abyss stares Magnus down. Magnus locks on the rear naked choke on the unconscious Joe. Joe's arm drops 3 times. And Magnus retains the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Abyss celebrates with Magnus. And that's the end here. Okay, here's the thing. Magnus needed to win tonight. And had to win in decisive fashion. I think TNA pretty much has decided that I'm pretty much the fans are on this boat too. That Magnus is really going to play up the paper champion mantra. Really going to make up the fact that Magnus cannot win on his own, regardless who helps him. Whether it's Ethan Carter III, or Dixie, or Rockstar Spud, or Bobby Roode, or Bad Influence, or whomever. Magnus can't win on his own. And that's what we're playing up. So Magnus has the help of Abyss, who I'm going to guess is going to be his new bodyguard, his new muscle, if I had to guess. I don't have an issue with this. But I do have an issue with the fact that Abyss was a former TNA World Champion, so I don't understand why he wouldn't want the championship anymore. He would want to help someone else win it? Okay, sure. So this will lead to a Joe-Abyss feud, if I had to guess. I think Joe and Abyss actually face off on Impact this week if they don't meet on next week's Impact. MVP, I'm pretty sure, will offer Joe a rematch against Magnus. I would say this match needs to be another stipulation, but we did a cage and we still had somebody get in. And obviously, has to be another way out of this. I think that Joe's about to win the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. He's going to choke Magnus out, and that's the storyline we've got, but we don't have it yet. I think Joe wins the championship at Slammiversary. That's actually what I'm going to go out on a limb and say. I'm going to say Joe wins the TNA World title at Slammiversary, and that's how it should be. I don't think we wait until Bound for Glory to get Samoa Joe as world champion. But, who knows? Eric Young, of course, a little peeved that Abyss was supposedly looking for help to clear his head, and Magnus ends up being his help. Not Father James Mitchell, it was Magnus who was the person who needed to help Abyss. find himself. So, we get this match, and it's main event times. Team Rude versus MVP's team, Lethal Lockdown, and of course, Austin Aries and MVP started off. MVP gets locked on the last chancery, goes up top, and he goes for the missile drop kick. MVP swats him away. Exploder suplex on Aries. Chin breaker, goes for the ball and elbow, but he runs off the ropes, gets stopped with a rolling elbow. IED gets the boot up, does MVP. Yakuza in the corner on Aries. Big scoop slam, leaping knee drop, and mounted forearms. Front face lock, knee out of the cross arm breaker, counter to a head scissors, counter, drop kick to MVP, comes off the ropes, leaping elbow, misses. Robbie E is the next participant. He comes out making a 2-on-1 for Bobby Roode's team. Elevator down on Robbie E and charging clothesline on Robbie E, then one on Austin Aries in the corner. Aries drop kick sends down MVP. Aries crowns MVP off the top. Robbie E on the buckle, hard elbow, foot choke in the corner. So, Aries with the foot choke in the corner of his own. Eddie Edwards come out to even the teams, and an elbow on E, repeated chops on Robbie E. Aries with the back chop stops that, back drop into the face buster. Zima Ion climbs up on the cage, and he gets knocked off when Eddie tosses Robbie E into the steel cage. Shining Wizard on Robbie E from Eddie Edwards, double whip on Aries, high velocity whip, and then one to Robbie E. Jesse Goddard comes out, and they're up 3-2 now. Drop kick on MVP, Bromance with a double whip, double elevator down, Jesse with avalanche, Robbie E with a running shoulder in the corner, double clothesline by the Bromance on Eddie Edwards, wishbone on Eddie, and a seated drop kick from Austin Aries. So nice little triple team maneuver there. Davey Richards comes out to give the one-man advantage to MVP's team. Double whip. And of course, we do the same spot we did on Impact where Robbie E ends up catching Jesse in the front face lock, and there's a drop kick from Davey Richards, and that of course makes Robbie E inadvertently DDT Jesse Goddard, which looks awesome. Double whip, drop toe hold into the side drop kick, sliding drop kick from Davey Richards. Double suplex, gets caught, double duck under into a double half crab. Aries with a clothesline to both members of the Wolves. Bobby Roode comes out as the final member of his team. MVP and Roode trade forearms, double R on MVP, double R on Eddie Edwards, and a double R spinebuster on Davey Richards as well. Tries to rip off the shoulder tape, and we are going back to Brian Pillman style back in the War Games with Sid Vicious. So basically he stomps away, and we get an entrance video for the final participant, and ends up being Willow. It's Jeff Hardy in his Will-O-the-Wisp gimmick. Lights go out, Willow's on top of the cage, he dives on all the heels, and lets the cage fall. So, before this, once the cage is finally in place, the top is on the cage, Dixie Carter comes out and announces her insurance policy is now the special guest referee of the match, and ends up bringing out Bully Ray. So Bully Ray comes out, he has a table, slides it in the ring, gets in the ring, and we start this. And this is a cluster of so many ways. There's so many things you can talk about here. So, basically, Bully watches, Team Rude destroys MVP's team straight up. They have the trash can lid against the shoulder, and they... Oh, wow. They hold Davey Richards captive, basically, with the can against the shoulder, which is already injured, and the IED on... or the running drop kick, depending on who's calling your match, by Austin Aries. Crossface on Davey Richards. Bromance there, Roode with a chin breaker, caught with a chin breaker, ball and elbow on Bobby Roode. Aries blocks twice, and Willow alley-oops him into the cage. Hockey stick to Willow, and MVP nails Roode with the lid. Hockey stick, heart attack by the Bromance, 1-2 and a kick out. Pop-up kick on Jesse, E-tried up to the Tree of Woe. Jesse is stuffed in a can right in his face, and the Wolves hit coast to coast, sending both feet into the side of the trash can, which is entrapping Jesse, and of course that also knocks into Robbie E, who was tied up in the Tree of Woe. So 1-2 and a kick out. This time Aries makes a save with a chair shot. Chair set up, Aries set on the chair, stiff kicks, ducks the buzzsaw kick, and he's going for the brainbuster, and a brainbuster on the steel chair from the seated position. Willow makes a save. So he goes for a twist of fate, gets shoved off. Aries tosses the can into Willow. Aries goes up top, goes for the 450, misses. It's nothing but a garbage can. Twist of fate on Aries, goes up top, Swanton, and Bobby Roode makes the save. Toss him hard in the cage. Roode sits up the table, and going for the Roode bomb, Bully Ray stands in the way. Does not let the Roode bomb go off. So he drops him, and Bobby gets up in Bully Ray's face. He shoves Bully to the side. Bully's like, this ain't happening. Big time Uranagi to Bobby Roode. And this allows for MVP to get up to his feet. Bobby Roode gets nailed with a step-up Yakuza kick. 1, 2, 3, and MVP's team win Lethal Lockdown. After the match is over, Dixie and Rockstar Spud run to the ring. Dixie's up in the face of Bully Ray, and basically she ends up getting up in the face of MVP, and the Wolves are waving bye to her. Final scene we see is Bully's waiting for Roode to reach his feet, and Roode gets powerbombed through the table to a huge pop from the crowd. And 1 year, 1 year ago, Lockdown 2013, Bully Ray turned heel. Lockdown 2014, Bully Ray turns face. We've come full circle in literally a year, folks. So, a lot of things to look at from this show. Obviously, going to be interesting to see what happens on Impact Thursday. And, excuse me, I'll try to have that footage, that recap done for you guys soon. Probably next Thursday, actually. That's what I'm looking at right now. That's better. I enjoyed Lockdown, I did. Now, if I could check out anything, I would check out the 6-man opening. I would check out Tigre Uno and Manic. I would check out Cowboy James Storm and Gunner. I would actually check out... You know, honestly, I'll tell you right now, I'd check out the entire pay-per-view. I just go back and watch it. There were a couple of finishes a little bit out there. Bobby Lashley came back. That was cool. Bully Ray turned face. Abyss turned heel. So, interesting to say. And had a good knockouts match inside the cage. I mean, obviously it wasn't as good as Paige and Emma was in NXT Arrival. But then again, not much is right now. So, yeah, it was good. It was a good match. I enjoyed it. I liked the show for what it was. And, you know, I know what you're saying. Oh, and you're a TNA apologist. And, yeah, maybe I am. But, I mean, you know... You gotta have a difference. You gotta have some differences here. And I know what you're gonna say. It's like, yeah, they're just doing the whole same thing WWE's doing. It's like, you know what? Sit back, relax, and try to watch wrestling and just enjoy it for what it is. I like the show. I'm not gonna deny I like the show. And I'm not being paid by TNA to like the show. I like the show. I like the direction we're going with everything. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens with MVP as the wrestling operations controller from now on. I don't know who Madison Rain's next challenger is going to be. I'm interested to see if Joe and Magnus go at it again. I think that's going to happen probably at at Sacrifice. Because interested to see where Bully Ray, why he did what he did. Obviously, he's going to address the fans on Thursday. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm going to guess it's probably set in stone. Is Samuel Shaw still after Christy Hemme, and eventually is Christy going to give in? I think that'll probably eventually happen. Where's Bobby Lashley fit in all this? Tigre Uno is going to be a great challenger for Sonata's X Division Championship. Are they going to start that soon? Where do we go in the next chapter of Gunner and James Storm? I know that's going to happen soon. Where do we go with Mr. Anderson after this? After the storyline with Samuel Shaw, what do we do with Mr. Anderson? Bad Influence going after the tag team titles again? Wouldn't have an issue with that. But the problem is, the Bromans are the tag team champions. They can't really do that. So, yeah. Who are the challengers for the Bromans up next? Are they going to have a feud with the Wolves? I think that's probably going to be what happens. So, yeah, it was good. It wasn't great, I'll tell you that. But, I mean, it was good. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed talking about it. So, yeah. Call me a TNA apologist? Go right ahead. But I enjoyed the show for what it was. And it's just how it is. So, yeah. I know it's probably not a favorable opinion to like TNA, but I do. So, there you go. And I support the company, so that's how it works. So, wrestling fans, TNA wrestling fans, you can join me again later in the week for TNA Impact recap. We're talking about Impact. I don't know if I'll be able to do it Thursday night or not. Probably not, because we're watching Need for Speed, so I don't think I'll be able to do it Thursday night. Probably next Thursday. A week from this Thursday will probably be the Impact recap from this week's Impact coming up. The show after Lockdown. WWE fans, if you're watching this video and you like both companies, you're going to get another recap from me, obviously, tomorrow. We're going to talk Monday Night Raw. So Tuesday night's video is Raw, and NXT is Wednesday, and SmackDown looks to be Saturday, so we got that coming up. Regular scheduled programming on Pop will continue, of course. We have our Academy Awards recap is coming up on Thursday. AJ's movie review is coming up on Friday, talking about Need for Speed and the Single Moms Club, new Tyler Perry movie. And we're going to talk about something new Tyler Perry related that we've got coming up for the next several months here on Pop, which may not be very favorable for some, but some of you might enjoy it. We'll see. And also, Brandy Versus coming up this week. So yeah, that's going to be really fun. We're going to go go futuristic on you guys, so it'll be fun. So, in the meantime, if you like these videos, tell your friends about them, leave a comment, do subscribe, and help spread the word about Pop. If you'd like to, go ahead and like our Facebook fan page, it's Sir Owen Disney Pop. If you'd like to be my friend on Facebook, it's Owen Disney. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, it's at Sir Owen Disney. Last but certainly not least, you want to send your thoughts, comments, queries, and opinions. You have ideas for verses, you have different things you want me to talk about, and you might want to be a popcaster yourself. If you want to send your contributions, you're more than welcome to. Send me an email, send me your videos at sirowendisney@gmail.com. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching, and as it pertains to TNA, like I said, just hang in there. Obviously, we've heard it before, it's a broken record, but, you know, I think that this time it's actually going to be a change, and a change for the better. So until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all I got to say about that.